Hi friends, welcome back. And in this video, we are discussing the author Mark Twain as well as his famous work, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And the novel is told from a first person point of view, with Huck Finn, a 13 or 14-year-old boy, is acting like the narrator. And also, Huck is telling of the adventures with his friends Jim and Tom Sawyer in the pre Civil War South. And now let us go into the details of the author, that is Mark Twain. Samuel Logan Clemens, born on November 13, 1835 and died on April 21st of 1910, known by his pen name Mark Twain, was an American writer, humorist, entrepreneur, publisher, and lecturer. He was lauded as the greatest humorist of the United States has produced, and also William Faulkner called him the father of American literature. His novels include The Adventures of Tom Sawyer in 1876 and its sequel, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn of 1884, and the latter often called the greatest American novel. Twain was raised in Hannibal of Missouri, which later provided a setting for Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. He served an apprenticeship with a printer and then worked as a typesetter, contributing articles to the newspaper of his older brother Orion Clemens. He later became a riverboat pilot on the Mississippi River before heading west to join Orion in Nevada. He referred humorously to his lack of success at mining, turning to journalism for the Virginia City Territorial Enterprise. His humorous story, that is, The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County, was published in 1865 based on a story that he heard at Angel's Hotel in Angel's Camp of California, where he had spent some time as a miner. The short story brought international attention and was even translated into French language. His wit and satire in prose and in speech earned praise from critics and peers, and he was a friend to presidents, artists, industrialists, and also European royalty. Twain earned a great deal of money from his writings and in lectures, but he invested in ventures that lost most of the money. He filed for bankruptcy in wake of these financial setbacks, but in time overcame his financial troubles with the help of Henry Huttleston Rogers. He eventually paid all his creditors in full, even though his bankruptcy relieved him of having to do so. Twain wrote his first piece of work under the pseudonym Mark Twain. Origin of his pen name, he stole the name from a senior riverboat captain who used to sign his bland descriptions of the Mississippi River under this name. About the other novel, the very first novel, Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and the particular novel, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, is a sequel of this novel, and the character Huckleberry Finn is one of a childish character in the particular novel, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer is an 1876 novel by Mark Twain about a boy growing up along the Mississippi River. It is set in 1840s in the town of St. Petersburg, which is based on Hannibal, Missouri, where Twain lived as a boy. In the novel, Tom Sawyer has several adventures, often with his friend Huckleberry Finn. And originally a commercial failure, the book ended up being the best selling of any of the Twain's work during his lifetime. And now let us go through the characters. Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, Jim, Pap, the Duke and the King, Widow Douglas and Miss Watson, Buck Rangerford. Now let us go into the details of these particular characters. Here, first one is the character, that is Huckleberry Finn. He is the main character of the book and he is the illegitimate child who runs away from his adopted family to be free from the society and civilization. Huck is Tom Sawyer's sidekick and Tom is Huck's best friend. Through spending so much time with Jim and some of his other experiences along the river, Huck reveals a strong sense of humanity even with the Duke and King. And the second character is Tom Sawyer. He is irresponsible, playful, and crude character. He wants things must to be exactly as they are in the adventure books here that he reads often. And Tom is not physically present for most of the tale, but Huck refers to him frequently. Huck is much more sensible and mature than Tom. Also, he considered Jim as a friend instead of a runaway slave. Tom has little concern for others. And the next character is Jim. Miss Watson's slave. Jim is Miss Watson's slave. He runs away and journeys down the Mississippi River with Huck. Together, they have many adventures, and Huck becomes the best friend of Jim. He is superstitious, sentimental, fatherly, kind, and protective character. His clothes and his clothes are tattered, and his appearance is not very good because he is a runaway slave without many clothes. His purpose is to cause Huck to see slaves as people. And the next character is Pap. Pap is Huck's drunkard father. He kidnaps Huck because he wants his money for alcohol, but Huck escapes from him. The illiterate Pap disapproves of Huck's education and beats him frequently. Pap represents both the general debasement of white society and also the failure of the family structures in the novel. And the next characters are the Duke and the King. The king is the older of the two con artists, that is Jim and Huck. They take on their raft. When they steal inheritance money of Peter Wicks, the king takes place the active role while the duke acts the part of a deaf mute. Both the king and duke are important characters in Huck's moral growth. As Huck observes them, he is able to judge what they do is wrong and learn accordingly by negative example. So we can see that Huck is actually viewing as a child, he is trying to imitate others. So he could understand that being a human being, I cannot be like that. I cannot be like this king and duke. So he is studying some of the moral values from those characters. And the next one is Widow Douglas and Miss Watson. They are the two wealthy sisters who live together in a big house in St. Petersburg, and they adopted Huckleberry Finn, that is Huck. The severe Miss Watson is the most religious. In fact, Miss Watson is the most religious, but in fact, she tries to teach Huck religion and how to spell. Twain criticizes this aspect in the novel. The widow Douglas is more kind than her sister and has more patience with Huck. In fact, Huck respects widow Douglas and wants to please her. Even after he is run away, he often considers her opinion before any actions or before acting. And the last main character is Buck Grangerford. He is the smallest son of the Grangerford family, and Huck becomes a good friends with Buck. He and Huck have some similar adventurous natures and imaginative minds, but Buck is used to have slaves wait on him, while Huck is more self-sufficient. Buck gets killed in the battle with the Shepherdsons. Huck is especially devastated by Buck's death. So, when we go through this novel, or when we go through the very important characters of this novel, we can understand that most of the characters in this novel are children. Okay, when we go through, we can only hear very little of the elder characters. Others all are children who are not very much good or morally good characters. They are the adventurous children, or we can say that they are naughty. They are the low class children who are wandering in the society, and they are going through many adventures. They are escaping from their society and their civilization. They are going somewhere else. So, in short, we can say it is a picaresque novel. In Spanish, the word picaresque means rogue or rascal. And we can say that this novel, picaresque novel, is a genre of prose fiction, and it depicts the adventures of a roguish but appealing hero. He must be a hero or protagonist of the novel, but he is going through many adventures in life, many adventurous happenings in life, and usually of the low social class. They may be from the low social class groups, who lives by his wits in a corrupted society. So, picaresque novels typically adopt a realistic style, and there are often some elements of comedy and satire in such novels. Okay, now let us go a brief note about the particular novel. So, about the novel, and this is a mostly very funny book, and it is presented from an adolescent point of view, and in his own dialect and voice, telling the tales about the honest simple folks as well as about the rascals, and depicting some very flawed individuals and clearly laying out many of the abuses and contradictions of slavery. The book is set before the Civil War in 1835. to 1845 in the Mississippi Valley during the time of Samuel Clemens, that is Mark Twain's childhood. And it is a problematic to many modern readers for its repeated use of the word nigger. In this novel, Mark Twain used a repeated word or refrain, that is nigger or negro. So because this is about the slavery, abolition of slavery, or the slavery in children, and the impact in their society, and also about the civil war, these all are depicting in this novel. So repeated use of the word nigger actually cause problems, or are mostly criticized by many readers. And also the childlike and patronizing depictions of black slaves, and the cruelty that Tom shows by making a game out of Jim and not immediately freeing Jim from his imprisonment. So it is showing that it is the children itself doing these kind of things, and when any other children who read this book may have cause some negative values in them, or negative morals in him. So many critics says that this novel shouldn't be read by children, or it cannot be used by children to read in their school syllabuses, or many of the critics wanted this novel to be banned. And also, Huck's own upbringing supporting slavery is shown to undergo an evolution in which he finally concludes on his own that it is a morally wrong. Even though he is showing the slavery and its impact on the society, what he wanted or what he meant by this novel is this system of slavery in America is actually something that is morally wrong. That is what he wanted to depict through the novel, which is novel The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And in this novel, Mark Twain is focusing on Huck and Jim and their journey through the Mississippi River. And the story is set, already I told that it is set in the pre-Civil War days, though it was written 2 decades after the Civil War ended. That means actually the novel is written after 2 decades after the Civil War is ended. Even though it is so, he wrote in a perspective of pro-Civil War days. And the novel actually offers a portrait of typical attitudes towards the slavery, and also demonstrate how the racism that is existed in pre-Civil War times do not change even after the war. So he is telling that even after the war is ended, or even it is told that abolition of slavery and others, there is no any changes in racism. That is what he is portraying through this novel. And also we could see that the Reconstruction and Jim Crow. So what is that? Actually, at the end of the Civil War, the Confederates, they gained the control of Southern legislatures and also the black codes. And these codes forced the African Americans to accept the poor working conditions. Okay, what is the condition of that African Americans at that time? They have to accept the poor working conditions and limited their movement within communities. They are denied with many of their rights. And however, the Reconstruction, it is the rebuilding following the Civil War. Okay, after Civil War there is a rebuilding, and it is called Reconstruction, and it was began in 1868. And what is the according to that? According to that, the black men gained full citizenship and equal protection under the law. Under this Reconstruction law, the black men gained their full citizenship and full rights or equal protection with whites under the law, under this particular law, and it was under the 14th Amendment. Okay, so that the African Americans saw this as a greater opportunity in the southern part of America. And also they are, most of them are being voted into or elected into offices and all. So that means after Civil War and after the Reconstruction law or amendment or 14th Amendment, most of them got a chance to be elected members of many offices, and also they got the equal citizenship or equal rights like that of the whites. And many of the Southerns, what they believed is this new social organization was a corruption of their race. So for the whites, or especially the Southern whites, they thought it as a corruption of their race. And also when Reconstruction was halted in 1877 by a deal struck between Republicans and Democrats following the disputed presidential election of 1876, and these forces implement the Jim Crow law. And it was named after the Jim Crow law was named after the term African Americans, and this law was fueled by the Southern whites' fears that they are actually, why this Jim Crow law was implemented by the whites because they are fearing of the blacks that they were taking away the employment opportunities. We know that most of the whites are getting the employment opportunities in the southern American state. So they are fearing of the loss of their employment opportunities. So they implemented the law of the Jim Crow law because they feared that the blacks were taking away their employment opportunities. Okay, and the Jim Crow law was impacted nearly every aspect of their life. So the African Americans' opportunities for their education, employment, everything was limited. So what this means that Civil War was ended and there was an amendment, 14th Amendment called Reconstruction, and that gives every kind of rights and for their aspect of life, in every aspect of life. But what happens is the whites are really feared of this law and the uplifting of the blacks. So what they do is they implement another law named the Jim Crow law. According to that law, this reduced or this law limited the education as well as the employment opportunities in African Americans, and it was really a threat and violence for them. So at this particular time when Twain was writing the book, African Americans had seemingly made little progress despite the Civil War, as racism and violence were rampant. So we know that it is a post-Civil War work, but even though he was writing in that decade after the Civil War, there is still the existing of racism, and already told about the Jim Crow law. Okay, and the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, the novel, stands out especially for the modern readers, and they are already told that they are so worried of the use of word nigger. Even though the Civil War is ended, why they are using such kind of words, vernacular type of words, or depicted such words in their novel, and also it caused many problems, or it shows the offensive connotation of racial inferiority by Twain's day. So it is the word nigger is an offensive connotation of the racial inferiority by Twain's day. Okay, now what we can look about the fact of the novel, and when we compare to the novel, we can understand that the book is opening in St. Petersburg, and it is the town where the Twain grew up, that is in Hannibal of Missouri. So the town is situated along the Mississippi River, and children often spend their days there swimming and fishing and other activities. So they are children of the Mississippi usually spend their time near that Mississippi River with their leisure activities. And there is another place, that is Glasscock's Island, and it is nearby and nearby of the Mississippi River, and the boys usually swim and take a canoe to that spot. So what we can see, another place, that is Glasscock's Island, and usually the boys of that place visit that place. They take the canoe or the small boat, and they move through the river and our island. Also they even swim in that in that sea. And the other place is Jackson's Island, mentioned in this text, and it is the Hannibal changed with the arrival of river steamboat. After the coming of river steamboat, the Hannibal extremely changed, and it became an active place with all kind of people passing through it. Okay, and the next one is the Phelps Farm, and it is the place where Huck visit in order to find and also to free Jim, and also doubles for the Florida, Missouri farmhouse. These are owned by Twain's uncle, John Coles. So these places, the Phelps Farm is actually owned in real life. It was owned by, there is such a name of farm, and it was owned by John Coles, and this place also mentioned in this novel. And also, next one is the protagonist of the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is modeled in part after a childhood friend of Twain, Tom Blankenship. So about the character Huckleberry Finn, he is actually Mark Twain's real life, or he is representing, or he is the similar to that of Mark Twain's childhood friend, and his name is Tom Blankenship. Twain describes this childhood friend as an impoverished, ignorant, and unwashed, but with a good heart as any boy could have. So he is depicting his childhood friend, or Huckleberry Finn, as a unwashed or untidy or naughty boy, but who loves many adventures in life. But even though it is so, he has a good heart. It is Twain's view. And Blankenship, like Huck, had a father who was a poor drunkard. Like Huck, Blankenship's older brother Ben's, who secretly assisting a runaway slave. And the character of Jim is partially drawn from Uncle Dan's, who was a slave on Twain's Uncle farm. And Twain spent a number of summers in the farm and enjoy listening to the stories told by Uncle Tom. So we can see some parallels with some characters. That is parallels of the novel characters with some of the real life characters. That is Huckleberry Finn as the friend of Mark Twain. That is Tom Blankenship, and the character Jim as Uncle Dan's one of the slave, rather Twain. It is the one of the slave in Uncle Dan's farm. That is Mark Twain's farm, Mark Twain's uncle's farm. And the parallels between Huck and Twain view on the slavery are more striking. That is, what is the view of Mark Twain? That is the parallel, or that is a real view of Huck showing through in this novel. And Missouri was a slave state when Twain was growing up. When Twain grew up and brought up in his childhood, actually Missouri was a slave state at that time. And also he had brought up to believe that it was an institution approved of by God. And by the time of Civil War began, Twain was less certain about slavery. And he did join in a volunteer Confederate unit. Okay, and Twain's story continues beyond that of Huck's. And when he first conceived and began writing the adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Twain and his family lived with his in-laws, and his father-in-law was an abolitionist and served as a conductor in the Underground Railroad. By this time, Twain's view on African Americans had changed dramatically. Similarly, Huck decides it's worth going to hell to help Jim escape slavery. So what we can see are some of the parallels between the real life of Mark Twain and also to the characters in the novel, or to the elements or to the incidents from the novel. Okay, that is about the novel. And now let us go through the plot summary. Okay, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, it was written in 1884, that talks about a young boy, Huck, in search of freedom and adventures. The shores of the Mississippi River provide the backdrop for the entire book. The novel opens with Huck telling his own story. That is, in The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, which preceded this novel, Huck and Tom discovered $6,000 in treasure, and Judge Thatcher invested the money for them. So what here we can see in the very beginning of the novel is that I told that it is the following novel of Mark Twain, that is Adventures of Tom Sawyer. And the Adventures of Tom Sawyer novel ended with that the character Judge Thatcher, he is giving or investing some money, that is $6,000 of money, and they invested in that in a treasure, and it was discovered by the characters Huck and Tom. And here it begins the novel. Huck was adopted by the widow Douglas and Miss Watson. They tried to civilize him, but dissatisfied with his new life. That is, Huck is dissatisfied with his new life with widow Douglas and Miss Watson, because he is a rebellious boy. Huck is a rebellious boy, naughty boy. He loves adventures. He's a rascal, and he is running away from the house of, or from the adopted parents. Tom Sawyer convinces him to return home. Tom Sawyer is convincing Huck, you must return back to your home itself. But then Huck is kidnapped by Pap. At that time, his father, drunkard father, Pap, is kidnapping him. Why he is kidnapping? Because he wants the money, the $6,000 of money that Huck is taking with him. Judge Thatcher and the widow Douglas are trying to obtain the father. They are trying hard to find Huck from the custody of his father. But a new judge in town refuses to separate Huck from his father. But a new judge, who is the judge of the court, he is telling that how can you separate a father and son? They are the blood relation. How can you separate? And they are refusing. That new judge is refusing. Pap steals Huck away from the widow's house and takes him to a log cabin. Pap is taking Huck to a cabin. At first, Huck enjoys the cabin's life. At the beginning time, he is enjoying the life, but later he receives frequent beatings and decides to escape. He is trying, even though it is the blood relation and it is his own father, he is getting some difficulties to stay with him. he is continuously beating and also torturing him to give the whole money to him. But then what he did is Huck trying to escape from there. When Pap goes into the town, Huck seizes the opportunity. Pap is going to town for buying some things, and at this and it sees the opportunity or sees the moment, means yeah, he understands that it is the right time to escape because his father is not in the cabin. Then what he do is Huck actually he is a notorious child. He is a very naughty and adventurous child. So what he do is he just kills a pig and spread the blood there everywhere where he stays, and take a canoe from there and hides in the island of Jackson. Then what he do is he take a canoe and move to the island of Jackson. And in this particular island, that is Jackson Island, he finds the black slave of Miss Watson, that is his friend Jim. Miss Watson's black slave, Jim, he finds Jim from there. And after overhearing the widow's plan to sell him to a slave trader, he ran away. So when Jim came to know that Miss Watson is going to or planning to sell him to the slave trader, so on overhearing that, on hearing that by secret, he trying to run away from there. And Jim is happy to see Huck because everyone think he's dead. Everyone think that Huck is dead because he killed a pig and shed the blood of the pig there. So everyone think that Huck is dead, but fortunately Jim is happy to see Huck there. At one point, an entire house floats near them, and Huck and Jim climb aboard to see what they can salvage and find a dead man. Jim inspects the body and realizes that it is Pap, that is Huck's father. But Jim keeps this information as a secret from Huck. He don't mention that his father Pap is dead there. Instead, he kept this as a secret. But whenever they travel or journey throughout the journey, Huck is fearing whether his father come to know about the truth that he is alive or not. Then Huck returns to the town disguised as a girl that is dressed like a girl or model like a girl to gather some news. So in order to get the news, he wear the womanly lady's dress and went to the city to hear some of the news or to collect the news from there. While talking with a woman, he learns that both Jim and Pap are suspected in his murder, so they decide to leave the island. That is, he come to know about the suspicion on Jim and Pap that they murdered this boy, that is Huck. So they escape from the island. Hearing this, they escape from that island, and their goal is to reach Cairo, where they can take a steamship or steamboat and also go to Free State. Okay, however, during a dense fog day, they are separated. And when they find each other in the morning, they realizes that they have passed Cairo. And during the voyage, they had a dense foggy morning. And the very next day, they realizes that they just passed away or they exceeded the place, Cairo. And the steamboat crashes into their raft, and then Jim and Huck are separated again. Okay, Huck finds the shore and is immediately surrounded by dogs. After managing to escape, he is invited to live with a family called the Granger Fords. So the ship was wrecked and they both separated. Jim and Huck was separated. Huck reaches the shore and immediately he was escaped by or taken care of by a family, and the family name is Granger Ford. At the Granger Ford home, Huck is treated well and also discovers that Jim is hiding in a nearby swamp. Huck was well treated by the family, and Huck came to know that Jim is hiding in the nearby swamp, and everything is peaceful until an old family feud of Granger Fords and the Shepherdsons is rekindled. Okay, and within one day, all the men in the Granger Ford family are killed, including Huck's new friend Buck. Buck is the very young son of Granger Ford family, and on immediate day, this whole Granger Ford family was killed. He don't know what happened. The family was going peacefully, but on the very next morning, the whole family is murdered. And now it is the turn of Huck. He is going back to Jim and to find where he is. And at that time, he met two men, that is Duke and the King. Actually, they are deceptive men. They are trying to cheat the three orphaned girls whom they are inherited. They inherited in the name that they are actually the British uncles of these three orphan girls, and by that way they could collect or they could inherit the money from them and their wealth from their three young girls. So Huck is trying hard to help these girls and to discover the truth, that is they are the deceptive ones, and they discovered that they are just cheaters and they are not the real uncles of these three girls. And next day he's heard that the king and duke actually trying to sell Jim to the slavery, and for that Huck decides to rescue Jim, and he's going to the house where Jim is kept. Luckily it was the house of Tom Sawyer's aunt, and her name is Sally. The Tom and Huck managed to rescue Jim and finally found him. Then he came to know that, or it is said that the widow, Miss Watson, was dead, and in her will she mentioned that the slave boy, the black slave boy, that is Jim, is now a free man. He is now freed from the slavery. So Jim was so happy to hear this news, and it is now he is trying to tell Huck that you don't have to be worried of his father, that is the drunkard man, because it is his father, or it is the dead man in that floating house was his father. And both of them are now cool and become happy because the whole worries from their life have now gone. And at this time Aunt Sally offers that she would adopt Huck, but actually Huck refuses this adoption because he thinks that it is not his way. He wanted to be free man, he wanted to go for many adventures in life, so he thinks that next onwards he won't be involved in any of these cases. And it is the very end of the novel, and here it ends. Now let us go through the language and style of this particular novel. Twain's style is actually simple and informal, and also it conveys his ideas in a boyish mode, that is in the perspective of a child's voice. And he gives the complex observations on society. He is telling about his own complex observations on society through the eyes and through the speech of the young boy out for an adventure. So his diction is typical in southern speech. He is using the typical southern speech in the words, or the diction is simple, and also he is expressing his own the Twain's observations through the young boy who is going out for many adventures. And he also pays close attention to the diction of the speech of various people from various areas down the river. He also trying to include other colloquial languages or other slangs of the people in that particular area of the river. Twain wrote the novel 20 years later of the abolition of slavery, but he set the story in that period perhaps to show that if blacks are no longer slaves, their condition of life has not changed. So what we know that it is he writing this particular novel too later after the abolition of slavery, but he write the novel in the mean that it was taking place in the time of slavery. So in this way he is trying to show that if the blacks are no longer slaves, they are no slaves, their conditions of the life may not be changed. Now let us discuss about the unique happenings in the Huckleberry Finn novel. Let me point out, Huck fakes his own death and escape from Pack. Huck witnessed the family rivalry and a death of his own new friend Buck. Huck and Jim come across two men, the Duke and the Dauphin, that is King, whom Huck quickly realizes they are the con artist. Jim has been taken. He pretends to be Tom Sawyer, and Tom Sawyer pretends to be Sid. Huck pretends to be a girl, and these are the unique happenings shown in this novel. Now let us discuss the themes in this novel: racism and slavery, intellectual and moral education, the hypocrisy of civilized society, maturity, friendship, violence, and loyalty. Now the symbols: the raft, the Mississippi River, and Jim. Now let us look how the raft become a symbol. The raft is actually that serve Huck and Jim's transportation down to the Mississippi River, and it symbolizes that freedom from the rules of the society. Okay, it shows the freedom from the rules of society. And when they are on the raft, Huck and Jim are free to act as they see fit. And Jim is no longer a slave and nor Huck a runaway. Instead, They are masters of their own fates. Huck says in chapter 18 that we set the one no home like a raft after all, and other places do seem so crammed up and smoothery, but a craft don't. You feel mighty free and easy and comfortable on a raft, and it is on the raft that Huck and Jim feel most comfortable. And also they are on the raft, there is no rules of the society or including slavery, everything are not there, so they are so feeling comfortable. That means it symbolizes the freedom from the rules of the society. And it is here where Jim and Huck are their best conversations. They also learn to see Jim as the three-dimensional person and not simply a slave. And when Huck and Jim are on the raft, they form a type of family. Okay, and with Jim acting as a surrogate father, and such a relationship in any form or would not have been forgiven in the towns, and they float past and sometimes visit. So, in short, we can say that they are living in a different condition in the raft, and they are feeling so comfortable there. And the next symbol is the Mississippi River, and it serves that it is taking the river is taking Jim away from his enslavement. It also serves to take Huck away from those who would try to civilize him and away from Pap's abuse. Therefore, the river represents freedom. So we can say that the river is also representing freedom because it is taking Jim and Huck from the particular civilizing of the society, and also Pap's abuse, and also from slavery. So we can say that it is also representing freedom. And Huck and Jim are eager to be moving on the river and obtain sometimes complicated freedom that they both seek. Okay, and the next is symbol is Jim itself, because Jim is the only slave who is featured in the book focused on slavery, and he comes to symbolize slavery. So Jim is the black boy who is symbolizing the slavery and system of slavery. Therefore, one can extrapolate that all slaves have common and decent traits. And just as Jim, who deserves his freedom, so do all the slaves like him. So we can uh, together we can say that Jim is representing the whole black men or the slaves of that particular place. Even though the book was written in the post-slavery period, and also Twain is writing the book to recognize or to educate the people about the opportunity or the equal opportunity that they missed from that of the white because of their laws and all. Okay, and it's all about the symbols from this particular novel. Thank you. This is all about the novel. I think you understand very well. If you like the video, please do like the video and also share the video, and also please subscribe my channel. Thank you all.